Hi guys, welcome to this video about how to prepare for hurricane. This is the current situation with Hurricane Michael. When you go on Google, when you Google for Hurricane Michael, I mean you can you get to this page. You can Google for anything like how to prepare or for a hurricane and so on, and you will find a lot. When you I think when you Google that at the moment, Hurricane Michael or Hurricane anything, you get a lot of information. I think this is information from Google. I don't know where they have it from. Oh, here we see source is the National Weather Center. So yeah, that's actually a quite good thing. I haven't seen that before. They have the map, they have the track, they have everything, and they also have how to prepare for the hurricane. So yeah, here when you go to this website, the National Weather Service, so you will find what to expect, timing and updates. So I'll click on that, and this is really good. So it says a lot about the current hurricane and the area which could be affected or the area where you're in and how to prepare and stay safe, a lot of that. And of course, when you go and Google for how to prepare for a hurricane, you will find a lot of information. I mean, private news and especially official news, news from your government, news from area officials and everything. And it's really important to watch these things, watch these lists, and listen to carefully to what they say because your area might have special needs. Some areas are prone to flooding, some areas are not, and it's really important to listen to them. What's official? I'm not talking about this official list. There are endless lists of how to prepare. This is just about my personal experience things. But since I've experienced a couple of hurricanes all over the world, and also last year, Hurricane Irma. I'm living in Tampa Bay, and we had something in between Hurricane Category 1 and Hurricane Category 2 with Irma. It was not absolutely devastating, but it was a little bit surprising. I mean, I have also experienced Hurricane Andrew 1992 in Miami Beach. It was a Cat 5. I've been there in the center of the hurricane, in the eye of the hurricane, but I didn't own. It was just on holiday. I haven't been the homeowner, so that's a huge difference when you're the homeowner. So this is more like when you're residential, you're the homeowner, and I'm just want to let you know what my experience is because it was a little bit surprising. There were especially three things which at the end were a pain or were a little bit surprising. I mean, there were lots of lists around. You have to prepare this and this and this and this and more things I didn't use or yeah. So especially like the windows. So a lot of people were really concerned about the windows and so window damage and then water damage and whatever. So I can tell we had a hurricane category 1 or 2, something like that. We had a lot of trees down. We had power down, everything. But I can't remember having seen even a single window broken. And I mean, when I was driving through the neighborhood or through our city, I think at least 50% of all the windows have not been protected, and also a lot of all windows, not only windows from new homes, but also windows from old homes. A lot of them have not been protected and have not seen any damage at all. So I wouldn't be too concerned. We had also friends down in Naples, and they experienced Cat 4 wind strength, and so I thought, yeah, maybe Cat 1 or 2 is not such a problem for Windows, but Cat 4, there will be a lot of debris and branches and everything flying down. I mean, there can be things flying around, but usually if a tree comes down, it comes down straight away where it is. The roots will be still there. It's just flat on the ground. That's it. So usually you don't have a lot of flying objects around. It's not like in a tornado. In a tornado you will have a lot of things flying around and damaged windows. In a hurricane, I would say chance that your windows will be broken are pretty small. I'm not saying you don't have to be prepared. I don't know what I would do next time. I mean, I bought all the plywood last minute and I was going from store to store and buying every piece of wood which I was able to buy and put everything up, and I'm pretty sure it was neat. Any I didn't hear any impact during the whole night, during the whole time where when yeah when when the hurricane was closed. So even our friends down in Naples, they had two homes and they didn't protect their windows. And in Naples, Hurricane Irma arrived as a Cat 4 hurricane with very high wind speeds, really, and actually a lot of damage, a lot of trees down, but they didn't have a single window broken. Usually, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Yeah, if you don't find plywood and or if you don't have people helping you, don't freak out. I think it's not such a big thing. This is just my experience. I'm not a professional or anything. So you have to make all your own decisions about all these things. This is just my personal recommendation. I'm just telling you about my personal recommendation. The second thing is water. So when the thing started about 1 week before the hurricane was expected to hit, people were freaking out about water. They were buying everything. It was sold out within a couple of hours. So if you hear that there will be an impact, like a straight hit in your area, don't wait for the next day. You have to buy water immediately. Really immediately. You have to go to the store immediately when you hear something like that. So next day it will be sold out. Guaranteed, guaranteed. There's no doubt, and it won't be back probably for a long time. Here in our area, we had a couple of stores. They got water after that, after some time, and we have been able to buy it. Did we use it? No. We had all the time. We had nice city water. Our filters were running, and we have been able to use. I mean, we have been able to drink the water all the time. There haven't been any warnings. But of course, it's a good thing when you have some water, but I wouldn't be too concerned about water. If you use your tap water, you have your filters, and so I wouldn't be too concerned. Maybe I would buy what I did. I mean, I when I couldn't buy drinking water for a long time, bottled water, I went to the store and I found these filters, like Brita filters, where you can filter any kind of water, what you find. Probably you could even take pool water and drink it. I'm not absolutely sure about that, but I think it should be possible to drink water from your pool when you filter it with Brita water. At least I would do it maybe 2 or 3 times, run it through the filter, and then I think it should be safe. I mean, most of the things which are in the pool is chlorine, and the carbon filters, they remove pretty much all the chlorine. So yeah, you even can do that, especially when you're living in Florida. Most homes have a pool, so there's plenty of water. Also, when you toilet, like when you have the impression that you will run out of water, you can't go to toilet. So I mean, you can't flush the toilet anymore. So if you have a pool, you can use the water from the pool. But there's another thing. That's the power. The power is really something to concern. I didn't believe that. I thought, yeah, power. We're living in Florida. That's not a big thing. I mean, it's not third world or something like that. We are not living in Africa. I mean, it's Florida, but I can tell you, uh, almost in all the areas, a lot of power lines are still above ground. It's not like in Europe or so, where there are so many power lines still above ground. And even when the power lines are safe, there are so many old trees, usually they will fall onto power lines even before it starts with category 1 force winds. It's crazy how weak some of the old trees are. I don't understand why they don't do something, either put the power lines into the ground or get rid of all the old trees around power lines. I have no idea why this happens, but you can really expect everywhere in US and other parts of the world huge power outages, and they can last for a week, for a month, or even longer. I think some areas here in Florida did not have any power for a month, and that's really a pain. I can tell you, you won't have any AC, you won't be able to cook, you won't have internet, you won't have TV, you won't have a fridge or freezer. That's really a huge problem. And you won't be able to charge your phone. And almost the worst thing is that the power is not only used for your home, the power is also used for the pumps, for the sewage pumps. And we thought, yeah, okay, we stay at home even when we have no power, no problem. It's a little bit hot, and we have our car. We can charge our phones in the car and maybe use some solar chargers or whatever. Should be fine. We can cook on the gas grill and so. But in a sudden, in a sudden, neighbors came and told us that the sewage is coming out of their toilets and showers and everything. So it had a huge backup, and so we called the utility company and told them, and they said, yeah, they have not enough power, like emergency power supplies. So they came and pumped the sewage for a couple of hours. Then they got to the next sewage pump, and so on and so on and so on. And but we haven't been able to use any water then for about 3 days. I mean nothing. I mean actually no hand wash, no shower, no toilet, no nothing. So we had to go to the shopping center to go to the toilet. That was horrible. It was well, that have been the worst 3 days of my life. I can tell you, this is really absolutely horrible when you're not allowed to use any water for 3 days and can't use your toilet. So please be prepared. That means for me, maybe I would go out of the area, really, I mean, far away. Not only 10 miles, 20 miles, so maybe 200 miles or something like that. So you have to be really prepared. Yeah, as a little hint, we booked a hotel actually The problem was we didn't want to go too far away because we were a little bit concerned about the areas, burglars and such things. We wanted to be back quick. We also had some animals, and so we didn't book a hotel too far away, which was actually not so good. We booked something in about 50 miles distance, or maybe, yeah, something between 50 and 100 miles. And it turned out the hurricane was even worse there, so we didn't use that. But the good thing is sometimes you can book hotels and cancel the reservation till the last day. So we had actually found a hotel. We booked it for the whole week, and we have been able to cancel the last day. So, I mean, I don't know if it was possible to live there because it was they got a direct hit, so even worse than our home. So we didn't mind using that, so we just canceled it and stayed at home, and we were pretty much safe. But it bothered us with the electricity and water we haven't been able to use. So regarding the electricity, it can be a pain really with the fridge and freezer. So our fridge lasted for about 2 days or so, and then it got I mean, everything turned really bad. Milk, all the fresh products, and we had to get rid of these things. And one of the additional pains were, yeah, you have to get rid of all this stuff, and you have to have enough garbage bags. That's one thing you have to have. I didn't expect that at the beginning, so it can be a huge problem after a direct hit from a hurricane. Garbage service can be out of service for long, long time, and then you have to be able to store these things, and you cannot just put it on the curb like all the old stuff. You have to put it at least in bags which should not be leaking, because otherwise the animals come. And yeah, so garbage bags is definitely a thing. And regarding electricity, I tell you, I would definitely buy um, something like a emergency power generator when you can afford it, when you think, yeah, you won't do that. We had about 50% of the homes, yeah, maybe 30% of the homes in our area, they had emergency power generators, and so they have been able to use like internet, TV, and especially their fridges and freezers, and this was a huge advantage for them. They had also power during the night. I mean, they had light. We didn't have light. We charged our things in the sun outside, and yeah, so we had some LED lights in the night. First night we used candles, but then after that we thought it's not a good idea. And it's definitely better these days to use LED lights. We had a lot of these battery chargers, some with solar panels. We put them outside, let them charge during the day in the sun, and use these power battery power chargers, which you use usually for phones. They usually have an LED, so we use this to have light the whole night in our home. So there are these small things on Amazon. I will put down the link for these things. There are really some nice things, some bigger chargers, some smaller chargers, and so especially here there are a few good things. I mean, I think this is a really good thing. I've been using also smaller things. They have everything. They have an LED. They have, you can use during the night, you can use the light, you can choose your phone. Because the interesting thing was we had still data. We had like full reception with our phones. We have been able to use the data and phone and everything. So we have been able to check the news on our phones. A few of the antennas were broken, but at least in our area they were still working. Then that was a good thing. So I think this thing, something like this, is really an awesome thing. I would make sure that you have something maybe waterproof. If you put it outside, there's always the chance that it gets some rain, and so it has to be waterproof like this and this. Maybe even like a bigger one, bigger station, something like this. You get it a little bit above $100. These bigger things. Don't have it here, like something like this, or yeah, or like something like this. They are pretty cool. You can charge it from your car, and then you have power the whole night. And you will be able to have light, and you can charge your phone. But of course, you cannot run your fridge out of this. You would have to. You definitely would need a power, emergency power. Yeah, here we have more stuff, something like this. Yeah, they are around something between 100 and $150. These kind of things can be really huge. I mean, they have around 40,000 milliampere hours. You can be sure you can charge phones all night, listen to radio, and have light and everything. And power generators, of course, are a little bit more expensive. They are, I would say, around $500. But if you can afford it, I mean, it's huge. It can be a huge advantage. If you don't have solar power on your roof, this is something you definitely need, and you just have to make sure that you have enough gas. And that's the last thing I want to do, to mention gas. Um, yeah, I didn't expect that it would be a huge problem, but gas was really a huge problem. I mean, I filled the tank of our car and I was safe, so it was okay for me. I didn't need additional gas. But really soon, the extra canisters, or I think they are more called gas cans, something like this, no spill 5 gallon gas cans. They were, yeah, they were sold out like nothing. So really these things, yeah, it's really these things. They were sold out almost immediately at Home Depot and Lowe's and those things, and you really need a lot of them when you want to run an emergency power supply. You have to check the instructions and you will see how much you need, and you have to have enough for like maybe a week or so. And because you can't expect that you can just go to the gas station and get gas, because first of all they will probably have no power as you, and if they will have power back, then they probably won't have gas, because the roads will be blocked and there is a shortage of gas everywhere. And for us, it was a huge thing in our area. It didn't affect me personally, but it was a huge thing in our area regarding the gas. Gas is something you have to be really careful. You have to be prepared, absolutely. And what's also a good thing is to have something like gas grill. If you already have a gas grill, so you're on the good side. And yeah, what's a good idea is to have at least one full tank of gas. If your tank is getting empty, so get a replay. I mean, an extra or spare tank. You can get them for not much money, and you can return it after that. I mean, when it's used, you don't have to buy a new one. You can just return the empty extra gas container if you don't like to have always a spare one. But it's anyway, it's a good idea to have always a spare one at home. So what we did a lot of cooking because we had a power outage for 1 week, and we did a lot of cooking. We had on the side was this boilerplate because it's difficult to cook on the normal grilling grates, so it's much easier if you have a real boilerplate on the side. I don't know if we find something like this. I have the charbroil. Um, yeah, here I think we have charbroil, but it's a cheap one. We have one a little bit more comfortable, more extras on the left side. There's a boilerplate, and we use that to prepare coffee and a little bit of like spaghetti or any kind of, yeah, some kind of pasta, which is always a good thing in such a situation to have an easy meal, but a hot meal. It's always nice to have a hot meal every now and then, and so you can maybe prepare spaghetti or tomato pasta or something like that, and your family will really appreciate that. One thing that also surprised me were these shelves. When you see the pictures from TV stations, here we have Irma, Fox 4, and other things. You see all these supermarkets with empty shelves. And in our region, that did not happen at all. We had I mean, this is not a normal shelf. This is a shelf for water bottles. You can easily see on the back side there's normal or the normal drinks, and it's still full. And but water is yeah, goes really fast. But this thing, like when you have normal shelf, like with bread and something like that, and it's empty, I haven't seen that in in any of the hurricanes I've experienced. I've been in at least three hurricanes or almost four. Yeah, one was only close. I was really within three hurricanes, and I've been shopping to prepare for these hurricanes in Florida, and for none of them I have seen empty shelves except water. So I would not expect this happen in Florida, but of course it can happen when you're in the Caribbean, like when you're yeah, Puerto Rico or any Caribbean island where it's difficult to get extra supply in a short time. But I would not expect this in on the main U.S. mainland. I don't think that should happen. Maybe yeah, in Hawaii or any of these islands. It could happen, or it probably will happen anytime when a hurricane is expected to hit, but not on the mainland. So I've done shopping even the very last day before the hurricane hit, or the last day when the stores were open, because on the last day the stores were closed. So the second last days the stores were all open, like Publix, Walmart, and so on. And I've been shopping for small stuff, which even batteries and everything was still there. Batteries were maybe a little bit low, and but it was not actually a problem. So I did not see any of these empty shelves, even second last days, except from water. So these were the things which came to my mind when I remember the situation which we had 1 year before. Of course, this is just my personal opinion. This doesn't match like the whole list. I really can recommend watch the whole list of things. But I thought um, it's not only yeah, sometimes you don't have time to cover everything which is on the list. Of course you should be careful when, especially when you have to take care about elderly peoples, maybe you have children, you have your pets at home, and so you have to make sure that these things are covered and safe. But apart from that, I think not everything has to be covered as it is in a list. Of course, it's your decision, and I just wanted to help you a little bit, maybe take away a little bit of fear, because at the end there was so much support, and there were schools providing things, and I mean there was no a risk of really like life-threatening thing, even when it was bothering us, even when it was really uncomfortable. But we really felt safe all the time because there were all the authorities around and schools. And if you had really an emergency, if you had no water, there was always a place to get something, like when you need something in emergency. So I hope I was able to help you a little bit with that. If you have any questions or comments, just write to the comment section below. I'm always happy to talk about these things. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.